Hello and welcome to Growing Tech Fast, the condensed Org3D podcast, where we talk about growing tech startups with those that have grown them. So today I am joined by Ron Kerbs, the CEO of KIDAS. Ron, it's a pleasure to have you on the podcast today. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Fantastic. For the benefit of our listeners, Ron, perhaps we should kick off with telling us a bit about who you are, what your mission is, and what work you're doing at the moment today with KIDAS.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Israel, moved to the US a few years ago and started KIDAS with a few of my teammates. We worked before in national security, and we're all gamers. And by playing, gamers know that today's environment is very toxic, and it's okay. It's not okay if you're grown up, but it's bearable if you're grown up. But for kids, it's something that could really impact their life, whether it's hate speech, toxicity, sexual harassment, and by playing, and we play a lot of Call of Duty, we play a lot of other games, we know that kids come across those situations. So our product basically solved it for parents and kids. Our product automatically detects those situations and recommend parents and kids how to deal with the situation, how to block players, how to talk about it, how to prevent those situations from happening in the future. Basically, some digital guidance for parents and kids in a world that is pretty new for the kids for sure, but also for the parents who grew up in a world in which online multiplayer gaming was not a thing, and it's definitely a thing right now. So that's what our product does. Parents download it to their kids' computer and start getting recommendation and alerts if something bad is happening, so kids and parents can improve together without violating their privacy, of course.
Fantastic. As an avid gamer myself, I can definitely see the gap in the market for such a product. It's become a very hot topic in cyberbullying, and I can certainly see the benefits of KIDAS and the platform that it's offering. But I suppose a good question on the back of that is, what was it that led you to start KIDAS? What was that light bulb moment that became apparent to you that there is a gap in the market for this type of offering?
Yeah, so I used to live in Philadelphia, and one day I read in one of the local newspapers about a girl who was sexually assaulted by someone she met online, and I started to research because I saw that and I was terrified. I couldn't imagine that there is no solution for this problem. So I started to research, and I saw that there is actually no solution in gaming. And as I research more and more, it's not just the some curses that you suffer from when you play online multiplayer gaming. It's a lot of extremist organization recruiting kids on those platforms. It's a lot of harassment. It's a lot of online predators trying to find their victims on those platforms. And unfortunately, there is no solution in voice chats. So as an avid gamer myself, I realized, okay, I have to use my prior background in security to solve this problem. We started with a solution for mobile, and then actually by getting some feedback from parents, we understood that the biggest problem is actually in PC games and console games. Those are the games that kids mostly play with other players, communicate with other players via in-game chats, but also external software like Discord. So we pivoted. We started with an app for the phone, but we quickly pivoted and tried it for PC, and we had also an Xbox version for a while. But for now, we're focusing on PC gaming because it's a huge market, and a lot of those gamers are suffering from bullying on the PC. So that's what we're focusing on right now.
Fantastic. I appreciate you sharing that. And I think you touched on it very briefly there, that when you first had that experience in Philadelphia, when you read in the paper with the child getting bullied, you sort of drew upon your experiences with the Israeli Defense Forces. Not to know any particulars, of course, Ron, but what experiences did you learn during that time in your background in the forces that led you to be able to produce a successful and, quite frankly, a very interesting product in the cybersecurity market today?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest thing that I've learned is how to lead a team with a specific mission. And because I was leading a team of engineers, how to lead a team with a specific mission, to do it under very high pressure when the stakes are high, and to do it while not burning out, because you can work a lot of hours and you can burn out your team, and you don't want to get there. A startup is a marathon, it's not just a sprint. If you just work 22 hours a day and sleep 2 hours a night, in the short term you might go fast, but in the long run you lose your people, and eventually you lose track of the bigger vision. So managing the balance between getting to the mission, getting to the critical mission and getting there fast, but also making sure that the personal life, the emotional health of your team members, you're taking care of that. That's something that is really critical, and that's something that I learned from my prior experience in the military.
Fantastic, fascinating stuff. So today, KIDAS is obviously doing very well. What has been sort of one experience when you first sort of came up with the idea and you started KIDAS? What's an experience from when you've learned on the back of a failure, and how is it serving you up today?
Yeah, so right at the beginning, we actually started with social media monitoring. So we had an app, as I said, and it was serving mainly parents, and we were helping them with TikTok and some other platforms. And what we've learned is that we didn't really know our customers really well. And while starting to talk with our customers, we realized that they're asking us for a solution for Fortnite, they're asking us for a solution for Minecraft, they're asking us for a solution for Roblox, they're asking us for a solution for gaming. So one of the things that we've learned, and it took us a while, to understand it, is that we need to be really, really close. And a lot of startups talk about it, but it's different when you experience it firsthand, that you have to be really close to your users, your customers. You have to understand really well what they're doing and what they're, what do they care about. And so that's what we've learned, and we learned it the hard way. We built an entire product for mobile, and we had to pivot after learning that. So, if there are some entrepreneurs and founders or aspiring founders listening to this conversation, definitely recommend, before you even start writing one line of code, make sure that you fully understand your users, because we thought that we fully understand our users, and we basically spend a lot of time writing something that it wasn't something that they wanted.
Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah, it's really, really important, to get user cases. I've heard this being mentioned several times across the product, cybersecurity product community. It seems like a very big issue, but I'm glad to know that that's an experience you've learned from. So I suppose, from my next question, we've understood, the idea, where KIDAS started, where it's at now. I suppose I want to look into the future. KIDAS, where do you see the company growing to in the future? Let's call it 3 to 5 years time. And also, what is the end goal for KIDAS?
Yeah, so we just recently announced a partnership with Overwolf. For those of you who don't know Overwolf, they're a gaming API and gaming creation company, and basically they provide developers ways to connect into the event in the games. And they invested in us, and we're now building a product together. And our vision is to use this technology and basically to get contextual understanding of what is happening in the game. So we're not just alerting or providing recommendations based on the text or the voice chat. We also understanding what is happening in the game. For example, if I'm telling you on Fortnite, I'm going to kill you, and we can actually understand if someone was shooting or not shooting, if someone was killed in the game or not, because that's very critical for understanding if we're talking about toxicity or we're just talking about legitimate gameplay. And as we take all of those game events and we analyze it with emotion detection, with age detection, with the context of the game, with what you've said, with the content of the conversation, our goal is to be a digital helper for kids. And we want to make sure that we're teaching them from a very young age how to deal with bullies, what to do, whether to ignore it, how to not to be a bystander, how to help their friends when their friends suffer from bullying, how to help them prevent scams. A lot of kids today are approached by scammers. You can just send me your password and I'll share with you V-Bucks or those kind of things. Help them in those situations and teach them. Because unfortunately today, no one is teaching those kids how to behave online, and unfortunately they're learning very, very toxic behavior from older generations because that's what they see. And our goal is to create a digital helper that not just alerts about those situations, but also recommends how to deal with them, and also guide those kids in a very positive way, not in a very intrusive way, in a very positive and encouraging way, how to transition to be a positive gamer, a team player, and someone that the community will benefit from gaming with. So that's our vision, and we want to be connected to any game out there, and we want to be connected to any community out there, whether it's on Discord or whether it's private tournaments. We want to be connected to all of them because we think that positivity and we think the team spirit is one of the things that was core concept of gaming, and we lost along the way, unfortunately, to toxicity.
Fantastic. It's great to know about a product, that is also at the core of personal morality. A lot of companies in cybersecurity, they offer products, of course, that help power everybody really, but for something that's really attached to the gaming community and the essential problem of bullying, something that does hit a core with myself, and I can really get that from the way you talk about your product. Now, in terms of when you're thinking about growth, I suppose, with how high a morality level the product has, I suppose this is something that you look to embed in your team and your culture. What's one particular characteristics that everybody new that's coming to KIDAS to work for yourself has to have in order to help you and the company succeed? Is there anything in particular that you look to identify in building a team?
Yeah, one thing that is a no-brainer for us is trust. We cannot have someone on our team that we cannot trust. We're a fully distributed team. We have people in the US, in Canada, in Europe, in Israel, and we all work in different time zones. We all work, we have, of course, Zoom meetings, Google Meet meetings, but we also have, emails and Slack messages. And if you cannot trust your teammates, it's something that, we can't work together. So that's something that we have to have, like trustworthiness. It's something that we're not going to compromise on. And trusting your team members, it's one thing that we cannot we have to make sure that we have, but also be connected to the gaming industry and to gaming. So in our happy hours, we have happy hour to finish the week all together. Everyone is connecting from different places of the world. We play games. We play Roblox. We play Minecraft. We play Among Us. We play all of the games that we monitor. We play together because we want to understand our users. We want to understand our customers. We want to understand the environment. And of course, we want to have fun together. And we think gaming is great. We think gaming encourages positivity. We're not one of those companies, or we don't support limiting gaming or limiting screen time, and we think that gaming is in a lot of cases is a way for kids who are a little bit more shy or a little bit more introvert to create and build new relationships and connections with other people. And we think gaming is great, and we want to encourage gaming in our team as well.
Fantastic. Awesome. That sounds like a culture I want to be part of. It sounds awesome. But look, it's an interesting, fascinating company. And I suppose for the benefit of our budding entrepreneurs out there, and to, nicely bring it to a round off on this podcast today, I'd like to ask you, what's one piece of advice or maybe a fellow entrepreneur that you follow or a book to read? What's one piece of advice you can share to help somebody starting out on their own entrepreneurial journey in the software world today?
Yeah, I think I think if I had to choose one thing, I would choose the book, The Lean Startup. I've read it a few times, and I told you about our mistake of not testing before, not talking with our users before, not testing and validated our assumption. And that's definitely something that I would recommend any aspiring entrepreneur, anyone who's starting a company. Start with, okay, what are my assumptions? And then try to validate them. Try to validate it without writing a single line of code. Talk with your users. run some surveys, understand what they do care about, run some fake ads to understand if they actually want your product. Those are some things that, you know, I read about, and I read the book at least twice, but I still didn't understand good enough to save us a lot of time. And I think that the people who will implement the concept in the book will save themselves a lot of time and money. So definitely recommend it.
Fantastic. Well, you've heard it from the man himself. Perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time, Ron. I'm sure this has been as constructive for me as it is for our community out there at Org3D Growing Tech Fast podcast. And it's been a very pleasure speaking to you today.
Thank you very much. And it was a pleasure coming and talking with the community.
Fantastic. Thank you everyone for listening at home. Until next time, tune in to the next episode of Growing Tech Fast. Thank you.